You are listening to a special edition of the Purdue Report with Jake Dunn. Jake's reaction to Purdue's 86-56 win over Texas Tech in the Bahamas Championship on Friday night. Only on the Central Indiana Sports Report. Welcome, Purdue fans, to the Central Indiana Sports Report for a special edition of the Purdue Report. I'm here with Jake Dunn to get his reaction to Purdue's 86-56 win over Texas Tech in the Bahamas. Jake, and you and I have not said a word to each other since last night's game. But wow, that was, now we know why they're number one.
I think there's a reason why we haven't said anything to each other because they proved what we already knew. Purdue's the best team in the country. So Purdue's had kind of a knack here lately for winning these MTE events. Purdue wins its fifth straight MTE championship and improves to 12-0 in November tournaments under the senior core. If you rope TKR into that as well, he was a redshirt. He won. His when he was a redshirt freshman, they won that tournament, and so he's kind of cool that have a few guys there that have never lost an event like this.
Didn't look great on Thursday, and then last night looked pretty competitive for about 10 minutes, and then and Jake, I want to say this before we go on talking about how great Purdue was. Texas Tech was awful. But if Purdue plays that way, if Oscar Cluff plays that way, I don't think anybody beats them.
I'd argue that Texas Tech is still pretty good. Purdue just made them bad. I mean, Purdue is doing stuff defensively to this whole game plan was to keep people out of the paint and make them shoot threes. In the first half, Texas Tech shot 26 shots. 20 of those were from beyond the 3-point arcs.
I think you're right that was the game plan for sure. And Painter's game plans are often great, but Texas Tech did nothing to ever adjust to it. They just chucked 3-pointers. They looked, that was my point, is they just looked awful. It's a good team. We know that. They're ranked 15th. They're 4-2. But last night they looked confused. And that was a big part of why Purdue looked so good.
We saw in the second half, they started to kind of change their game plan of not just taking a bunch of threes and really start trying to drive to the paint, and so a little bit more success, but Purdue was really able to keep extending that lead in the second half too. But I mean, this was just it was a statement, and Purdue was really able to dismantle this 15th ranked Texas Tech team.
And by the way, the score, it does not indicate how much of a domination it was. 80-56. They were up 30 with 12 minutes to go and could have kept going.
Yeah.
And didn't, and kind of let off the gas. That's how good they were. Let's go over some of the individual performances. I want to start with Omer Mayer because he might be the second best point guard in the country.
He had a really good game. They took Braden Smith out there a couple times and really just kind of let Omer cook, and 20 minutes, 11 points, 2 assists, played really well. He was 1 for 3 from 3, 5-8 from the field. He hit some pretty tough shots that
and he's got great vision, sets up the offense well, is in control, has a nearly unassailable handle. He's going to get wherever he wants on the floor. Very similar to the way Braden's, not that they're similar players necessarily, but similarly that they can get wherever they want on the court.
He played really well. Daniel Jacobson played pretty well. The question here is who didn't play well, and I don't think that's necessarily.
Sure, everyone did. Kari Harris was 1 for 4. That's about as. But he did some nice things too. Had a couple nice passes.
Him driving in the lane really kind of opened up the floor a little bit for his teammates. So he had 7 players score in double digits, with Oscar Cluff leading the way with 15 points. So one person real dominated in terms of scoring. That's great to see that Purdue can go 7 deep and with being a productive scorer.
Yeah, no doubt. I think they can go 9 deep with productive scores. It looks to me like Jack Benter's going to be a real player and a scorer as well. Jakari Harris had an off night in his 17 minutes, but we know who our 9 are now for sure. We know that the starting lineup, I think we're pretty certain this is how it's going to stay unless you want to switch Omer and CJ into CJ Cox's spot, but I don't see why you would. So it looks like it's pretty settled, and this is a team ready to make a nice run.
In the first half, even Purdue closed the half on a 20-3 run, hitting their final 10 shots. So Texas Tech just looked mentally collapsed. Yeah, they just kind of looked like they didn't want to be there. So, especially against a top 15 team, you just don't really see many 20-0 style runs. But Purdue,
there were a couple of them. There were a couple of huge runs.
That speaks to Purdue's defense and rebounding that really, just crushed Texas Tech's will. And a big part of that was Oscar Cluff. I mean, he's just a wrecking ball. He 15 points, 15 rebounds, and was really just in total control of the paint.
So good on the offensive glass.
I think he's obviously Zach Edey was a very, very good rebounder. I think he's almost right up there with Edey of how good of a rebounder he is, or at least that sort of influence anyway on the glass.
He's wide and he uses his body to his advantage well.
And he was really able to lock down JT Toppin. He scored a couple points on him, but I feel like most of the points he scored, it was on Daniel Jacobson. But JT Toppin, Cluff was just too big and too strong for him, and he just didn't really have an answer.
59% from the field, 57% from behind the three-point line, and that sounds like, they were just hot, but they were wide open three-pointers. They were working the ball. Fletcher, Loyer, wherever he was catching it was just, here's your thing. He was 3 for 8 tonight. That was the one weakness. I think it was the only guy under who shot. He and Jakari Harris are the only two who shot under 50% for the night.
Another guy, we've kind of touched on already, but CJ Cox, 10 points. His plus minus was plus 32. That's just insane efficiency. And Purdue, made a clear effort to get him touches, especially early. So if he can keep this up and play like this often, that elevates Purdue's ceiling from great to scary. She also mentioned Fletcher Loyer was the tournament MVP. He was the MVP for a reason. Played really well in the Bahamas. Efficient scoring, showed really good leadership, communication. And
so let's talk about the only concerns that I have. The only things I think can beat this Purdue team. Number one is there are at least 4 guys out there who are next level stars in the future. I don't know if any of them are going to take over the college basketball world this year, but there are 4 guys who are better athletes than anybody Purdue has. Kansas, North Carolina, those guys there, BYU, if they were playing those guys, would be a little concerning. The other is the defensive rebounding. Last night, they dominated the glass, but they still gave up a ton of offensive rebounds. And I don't know why Oscar Cluff is so good on the offensive boards and average at best on the defensive boards, but I think they'll probably get that figured out too.
I think you're right about those. I think BYU would give Purdue some fits. Kansas, anybody with really good guards, I think could give Purdue some fits.
I think as a college basketball player, the guy at North Carolina, and I'm sorry I'm blanking on his name, might be the best of those freshmen. He looks so good. He worries me, but Kansas, that's a bit of a concern too. But I don't think Houston, I don't think any of these teams, maybe I'm wrong. I've seen them all. I just don't think they match up to Purdue.
Yeah.
There might be a Superman out there who might, but I don't think any of these teams do. And Jake, the team's off now. 6 days until Eastern Illinois is in town. You're going to be at that one, right?
Yep.
Then They have their first Big Ten game at Rutgers, and then Iowa State at home at noon on a Saturday, December 6th on CBS. So some more tests coming up. Right now, I think the one thing that interests me the most is the potential that Omer Mayer brings to this team, Jake.
It's pretty clear that he's been earning Matt Painter's trust. And there were times in the game where Braden Smith would go out. I think Fletcher Loyer was even out. So it was like, Omer Mayer, CJ Cox, TKR, Oscar Cluff, and somebody else. And he was the clear orchestrator of the offense. I think that's where we saw kind of some of his shot-making abilities, some shot creation abilities. He's been playing really well, definitely earning Matt Painter's trust and getting more comfortable in his systems. I'm sure we'll see him relieve Braden Smith whenever he gets in foul trouble or just needs a couple minutes of rest. And compared to last year, whenever that would happen, whenever TKR or Braden Smith would go out, Purdue's offense kind of just stalled. Now, with Omer Mayer, I think Purdue's offense can even continue to stretch leads whenever those two go out on the bench.
He's phenomenal. He's going to be an all-time great. I wonder how long he's going to be here. I think he's got an NBA game.
Absolutely. Hopefully it's at least 2 years.
Hopefully.
Just some quick stats before we go. Rebounds. Purdue won the rebounding game by 18 rebounds. Out-rebounded Texas Tech 43-25. Purdue led for 36 minutes and 51 seconds out of the 40 minutes of the game. We talked about CJ Cox had a plus minus of 32. Fletcher Loyer had a plus minus of 31. So extremely efficient game from him as well. And from the bench, Purdue had 29 bench points, which obviously it's a really great number to have. One of those coming from walk-on Aaron Fine towards the end. And the walk-ons, or, at least Aaron Fine, he came in with, before the under 4 timeout. So he got a good amount of playing time there. Texas Tech only had 14 points from the bench.
One stat I want to give you is 1.37 points per possession last night.
And defensive rebounding percentage for Purdue, 78.6. So that's
better.
I know. Yeah, definitely better.
Oscar Cluff seems to always be in position on the offensive boards and always seems to be out of position on the defensive boards, and I don't understand it, but I think it'll get fixed.
It kind of seemed like some of these calls that he was getting called for over the back or an offensive foul on some of these rebounds. It kind of seemed like the old Isaac Haas thing where he's literally just bigger than the other person and bigger and stronger. So him making contact with the other player is going to push the other player forward, and he got called for a couple fouls there that didn't really look like a whole lot, but they probably were fouls, but it was just like he wasn't doing it intentionally. Like he was literally just bigger and stronger than the other person. So that might be something he has to manage throughout the year. But yeah, he's a pretty good rebounder. Glad Purdue was able to get him out of the portal.
Every once in a while, Jake, I say, oh shit, when one of my teams is maybe even better than I expected and really has something, and that came from me last night during the first half. It was like, oh, goodness gracious, they're even better than I thought.
Yeah.
With Cluff's rebounding ability, and you throw in a guy who, like I said earlier, possibly in the end be the second best point guard in the country. And this thing might in the end be unfair. They're that good.
Yeah. Purdue could cakewalk to the NCAA championship. I think I could be okay with that.
I would be as well. I don't expect it to be a cakewalk, but
no.
This is good. This is good. Jake and I will be back on Tuesday with a Purdue report, and Wednesday, Jake will be joined by the IU guys and probably Michelle Garman as well to preview the Old Oak and Bucket game. Cannot wait for that one. And we'll be talking more Purdue basketball on the Purdue report on Tuesday. Jake, final thoughts.
We should also mention that former Boilermaker Miles Colvin did a pretty good outing here in the Bahamas. Obviously hit the buzzer beater there against Memphis, ran the old Valpo play, full court pass to the guy on the elbow who passed it out to the guy on the wing for the three. It was a great moment, especially in front of a 90% Purdue crowd. And Purdue fans were giving them some love there in the Bahamas. So that was great to see. Also, some other college basketball kind of scores here. Rutgers lost at home to Central Connecticut State. So Purdue goes to Rutgers here in a couple weeks. And
so Purdue will probably lose at Rutgers is what you're saying.
Probably. Purdue has struggled past couple of years of kind of that first road conference game, struggling on the road there. So
you've driven out of Piscataway disappointed, haven't you?
Yep. When Ron Harper Jr. hit the half-court shot, the game after Purdue being ranked number one in the country, pretty disappointing for the first time ever. Ranked number one for the first time ever and lost that very next game. So it wouldn't be the first time Purdue's left there disappointed, but hopefully they can play like they did here in the Bahamas and be able to take care of business.
Jake Dunn, thank you so much for your time as always, and thank you everybody for listening. Please do us a huge favor and share this podcast with a Purdue fan in your life and help spread the word that the Central Indiana Sports Report is here talking about what Central Indiana sports fans talk about every single day. Thanks again, Jake, and Boiler up.
Yeah, thank you. Boiler up.
The Central Indiana Sports Report is a product of ITG Media, and I love Susie.